Hey everyone, I thought I'd try something different for once, so I'm going to be working on some cosplay, like the title says, for FanExpo. It's what I've been doing the last couple of weeks, and so I thought, showing you guys what I've been up to might be interesting for some, so I'm just going to turn the camera around so you can actually see what we're working with here. And here we have it. So I'm going to be painting some of these props, possibly the guns. As you can see, I have some of the other ones already painted, half started and stuff. So just, I guess, a little starting run through. These guns are actually made out of foam that have already been primed and everything else. These armor pieces are out of Warbler. They're super hard, and I'm going to be painting with all that of acrylic paint and stuff. So I'm just going to get you up here first. So sorry for the shakes for a minute. There we go. So yeah, let's get started on this stuff. I'm just going to, give me a minute, I'm going to go on my iPad so I can actually see the comments, because right now you're up super high, so I can't actually see the screen too well. There we go. Yeah. So, whoops. Let me just... Okay. There we go. So, what shall we start on first? I also have, these are some shoulder pads that this one actually has checkers on it, so why don't we start with that one? Just because it's easy. Whoops. Dropping things already. Get some music going here. Of course, there's just so much armor, not enough desk space, right? Of course, probably should have opened all the paint first. That's not happening. Yeah, so if you have any questions about what the stuff is made out of, whatever, of course feel free to ask. You can always chat and paint at the same time. I'm going to do the really not professional method of putting the paint right on the thing. I did try and set the stream up that you could also see me and not just, discombobulated arms, but it just didn't work out too well, and I figured you guys are probably more interested in the armor that I was working on and not so much my face. So I hope you don't mind. Hopefully I'll be doing more live streams in the future that I'll figure out a better setup. As it is, I'm starting much later than I wanted to because I had some issues taping this down. But it's all good and working now. So this is for cosplay for FanExpo, like the title says. It's actually Sabine Wren from Star Wars Rebels. I don't know if you know her, but she's actually the only character in Star Wars that's an artist. So I figured it was quite fitting, other than the fact that she kind of has my haircut too, so it's just kind of funny, and you know, I had to do the one artist in Star Wars, right? Like, it's just too perfect. So her armor, of course, is really crazy because she's a graffiti artist, she's super into painting stuff. So I'm not sure how far we'll get for the different details on the armor, but I'm sure you'll see, like, even these pieces, you know, have the paint splatter craziness on it and stuff. So yeah, this is definitely, like, I do normally do kind of crazy costumes, but this is by far, like, the most intense prop making I've ever done, especially, like, with the Warbler and stuff. Like, it's super easy to use, but it's definitely, like, it is almost a full body's worth of armor. You know, we have shin guards, foot guards, elbow pads, hand guards. These are the shoulder pads. There's also, these are the knee pads, and of course the different props. I still have to make the breastplate and the shoulder, like the neck kind of guard things. Also the dark saber. I'm just making the hilt, but you know, it's still something else to work on. Okay, I think we're gonna put this somewhere to dry for now. Yeah, cosplaying, I've really done 3 major costumes. I normally wear them like 2 times in a row. I've gone to FanExpo, which is like the largest, I believe it's the largest Canadian like Comic-Con type convention thing. But I've gone like 7 years in a row, and so normally I've worn the same costume 2 years in a row. So last year, if you've been part of my channel for a while, I did the warrior wolf link head. There's a video on my channel of me making the wolf head if you're interested. So normally I am still wearing that one this year, but I really wanted to do something because this year Friday at FanExpo is Force Friday, so I figured it would be cool to wear a Star Wars costume for Force Friday. So yeah, what am I doing now? Let's paint these guys, which have this, of course, crazy color that, despite me buying all of this craft paint, which it's just like the Michaels brand Craft Smart acrylic paint, is definitely not like the most pigmented or the greatest stuff, but it's workable. And you know, I think I got all of these bottles for like 70 cents each or something crazy, so it's definitely cost effective, especially because I'm going to be painting, you know, these fairly large pieces of armor. But yeah, if you guys have never cosplayed before and have always are interested in, obviously there's more easy costumes than others, but definitely like try it sometime. It's a lot of fun. I've even gotten my parents into cosplaying, which is cool and unusual, and all the people that go think it's hilarious, but it's super fun. Of course, you can't even see this paint mixing. It's not even going to be like interesting like those Instagram mixing videos, you know, with those paint knives. Every time I see one of those, I always freak out, because if they're actually using the paint they say they're using, that's like a $20 worth of paint just wasted right there. hopefully this is a decent and close enough color. I mean, it's got to get scruffed up a ton still, so it's not a big deal if it isn't too precise. Because, yeah, all of the armor kind of has this crazy rough edge on it. Hardest thing? Maybe the arm braces that I'm working on right now. They are out in the garage unfinished, but not only are they like super fiddly, but one of them I put LED lights in, so that was a challenge. And they're just super fiddly, and I did think though, because they're like, I don't know if you know who Boba Fett is, but Sabine's costume is super close to that, so she has these big arm bracers that kind of have like pointy things coming out, so to get those on I thought of using eyeglass case hinges. So that worked well, but it's just, they're super fiddly and stuff. The wolf head was definitely my favorite prop that I've ever made for a costume. It's just, if in person it just looks great. Like I said, there's a video on it. Like, just from dyeing all the fur by hand and stuff, it's just one of the best looking props that I've made. But as far as costumes, I've done Zora armor from The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, so that's full underwater armor. I've done Bird Howl, like, you know in Howl's Moving Castle when he turns into a bird? Yep, did that, wings and all. There's pictures somewhere, I'll have to upload them and put them somewhere sometime. Easier to find. But yeah, not into the easy costumes, as you can probably tell. This is, yeah. Just gonna... How quick do you think it's gonna take me to like bonk my arm in the wet paint? Really should have thought this through. Oh well. We'll just attempt to be careful, which probably isn't gonna end well. Now is it? This one is like, I'm looking, well, you can kind of see my iPad here. I'm looking at the chat and my references for the costume here. Just because, strange enough, like her, like obviously there's two of everything, but the paint is not the same on anything. It is completely mismatched. When I was doing the elbow pads, I was joking that you would not believe the amount of effort that goes into distressing armor. Like, to make it look bad on purpose is just crazy. Because obviously, you know, this is like nice and flat purple, but trying to get it to look like it's being legit splattered with paint all over it. Not the easiest feat in the universe. Yeah, but there should actually be a video of, that I'm gonna keep a surprise of what it is, of a different part of this costume that isn't really part of mine per se, but it has something to do with this cosplay. So I won't spoil that, you should see that the last Monday in August. I know, it seems crazy to be so prepared, but like, all the videos that you have seen since like the well, actually, all the videos you've seen since June and all the ones you are going to see until like the middle of September, I have pre-filmed because I've had to completely focus on making this costume. So a little behind the scenes there. So hopefully you're going to enjoy the videos that I've made so far. But I figured just for something different, live streaming. I mean, I've always wanted to try live streaming on YouTube because I used to do periscoping a lot, and I've done a couple Instagram lives, which I still, if you're into live streams, I'm probably going to do more Instagram lives of painting these different things just because I find it interesting. Like, it almost makes you, when you're live streaming, it almost makes you more productive because you kind of have to keep going. If that makes sense. You know, you can't really stop halfway because you're live streaming, of course. So in that way, it's great for productivity. And if you're interested, and if any of you are going to FanExpo, I will be cosplaying in this costume on the Friday. So I believe that's September 1st, and I'll be Wolf Link again on the Saturday. And then possibly one of the two on Sunday. So just a heads up if you're going to FanExpo, and you know, if you see me, I'd love to meet you. It's always cool to meet, you know, internet friends and people online. I know people, you know, don't want to make a fuss, or it is kind of weird to like approach someone that you know online, but I've actually met quite a few internet friends like that I've known from Twitter and doing different fandom things and stuff, so it's cool. Of course, be safe about it, but conventions, you know, meeting someone at a convention, it's a pretty safe bet. These guys are looking a little orange, so I'm gonna buff it up with this pinkier paint. I still have to figure out how I'm putting half of this armor actually on my body, which is always great. I mean, the foot and ankle guards are kind of self-explanatory. You know, you put the elastic around the back, and I somehow have to attach these to those. But I had to, of course, keep them separate for ankle movement, or else I would be clunking around like the Tin Man. Probably a good thing that this character is an artist and her armor's all messy, because then I don't have to worry so much about neat details. Although some of the different things have some designs. The shoulder pads are going to be interesting to do. I'm not actually in charge of the sewing. Because of course, like I said before, my parents are also into cosplaying. My mom is the sewer in the family, so I'm the official prop department, and my mom is the official sewing department. I mean, I have hand sew different things, but obviously not everything in costumes is hand sewable. But yeah, I think she's given up trying to teach me because she realizes that I prefer building stuff and not so much sewing stuff. But she's super happy. She is super happy to have a project to work on, so yeah, it's a family summer project. And of course, generally my costumes aren't really costume heavy, they're more prop and fabrication heavy. So I end up doing like 85% of my costumes anyway. I mean, for sewing wise, for this one, it is a couple of belts, obviously the attachments on these, which most of them are probably going to be like Velcro glued into the backs of the different armor pieces that are going to stick onto the shirt. That is the one other thing that basically has to be made. I bought the pants because they're kind of just like cargo-y pants, so it's not a big deal. And then of course my gloves, which are somewhere in this room, are a thing. Just a second here. Let's see. So how's everyone's summer going? What have you been up to, guys? I mean, I'm clearly not having the most normal of summers. Well, normal for me, I guess, but if you're going back to school or whatever, you're probably just wanting to chill out. Which I guess this is, you know, my chill out time, take a break from the usual painting and stuff and build some cool props and armor and things. I mean, I wish I could figure out a way to have a reason to make more armor. During the rest of the year. Yeah, well, I have a skewed idea of chill time now, because, you know, drawing and things and different artistic-y things is my work now, so building armor is apparently my chill. Whoops. Completely out of frame in that one. Well done, Michaela. Oh boy. I apologize in advance for me being just completely oblivious. It's the careful shuffle of props. around before it's catastrophe central. How long does it take? Well, it obviously depends on what I'm working on. I generally take off as much of July as I can and then all of August because the convention is at like the very end of August, the very beginning of September. So, like, we're talking a full-blown at least a month of like constant work. Obviously there's a few, like, I have to take breaks for different things and like wait for things to dry and stuff, but to do all of this armor I've been out working pretty non-stop for the last 3 weeks, I think. So they're definitely not low time costumes. I mean, last year, because I made a life-size paper craft as well as the wolf head, it ended up being like just a ridiculous amount of time. But it's fun work, so I don't mind the time spent into it. But obviously, you know, it's taken 3 weeks to like mold my body and get all of the stuff bent and cut out and all of that, and I'm not even done painting it yet. So hopefully everything goes okay and according to plan for the next month, and I can maybe finish ahead of time to have a bit of a break later. But hey, it's fun to do and I never get to do it any other time, so like I said, I don't mind. Especially because not only do I have to do all of my armor, I have to do some other props for my parents' costumes. So that should be fun. And a little bit of a surprise bit, which you will see in a video later. Yeah, I have seen Face Off. I used to watch it all of the time, but then it kind of just made me want to make things that I didn't have room or time for, so I haven't watched it in a while. But yeah, I used to watch it all the time. I am like pretty into special effects makeup. Well, put it this way, I seem to know a lot about special effects makeup and never have a reason to implement it in anything. Although I used to always say that the reason I could draw portraits so well was because I paid attention to makeup. Because of course, you know, when people start doing like the crazy special effects makeup or even just normal makeup, you're essentially trying to kind of change your face to look like something else. That's too watery. Oh well. Actually, hopefully I'm not getting my phone. Oh, thank you. yeah, so like I was saying before, if you're interested in like this costume or just cosplay in general, I've been pretty constantly putting up like behind the scenes stuff on my Instagram stories, so if you're interested in that, you can follow me there. But yeah, obviously I want to kind of keep it, like the majority of it, a secret until it's finished, but I probably will end up either showing it in a video right before FanExpo, just to kind of show you what it was like, and to also mention, of course, that I'm gonna be there, and if anyone's going and they see me, of course, like, don't feel shy about coming up and saying hi. So yeah, I'm sure you guys will see the finished result. Okay, whoops, that almost wasn't good. Ooh, that was close. Paper towel. I'm just a catastrophe, apparently. I mean, this has been the state of me for the last 3 weeks. It's just constant paint or dust and whatever all over me. Let's clean that up too. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous that I decided to bring out this like a giant palette, because I'm sure you saw me before. I was just like, I just poured the paint on the thing. I mean, really the only thing I've been using the actual palette for is mixing the few strange colors. But I did try and buy all of the actual colors to save myself from needing to constantly mix things and stuff. Okay, let's see, what shall we work on now? Yeah, it is. Oh, I am cosplaying season 3. Mainly because I wanted to do the Convor shoulder pad, which is going to be this one, which I think is going to be what we're going to work on next. Yeah, but really wanted to do the Convor shoulder pad. I also wanted to make a dark saber hilt, which at some point I might expand on and actually make a dark saber, because I've kind of figured out how I'd make it. But that's for another time. But of course, because I wanted to make the dark saber, I had to make the crazy armbands that she gets later on in the season. I'm gonna mix up a couple of paint colors, because this shoulder pad is a weird orangey yellow color. Yeah, but also the white hair is going to be easier to dye. I don't know if you know, if anyone's done hair or cosplay wigs and stuff, you can actually use permanent marker to dye synthetic hair. So of course for my wig, I just bought a bunch of purple permanent markers, and it's actually a really easy way to make super natural looking hair. So this is just, like I said, one of the shoulder pads, which of course does not match the other one whatsoever. But that's okay, because then I don't have to worry about making them match to, you know, each other, symmetrical and all that. Not necessarily going to be the easiest thing in the world, so it's good. As you can see, this stuff is not by a long shot the most pigmented paint in the world, but I did kind of need the silver base underneath, just because I'm going to end up sanding half of this paint off to make it look as dirty as it needs to be. Is this the right one? I don't even know if these, I mean, and half of this armor, whoa, half of this armor actually has like left and right in it. But apparently the knee pads are fairly symmetrical because it's not there. And this one, I guess, is becoming my right leg now that I'm putting on these marks. That one's in the middle a bit too much, but we'll fix that up later. What do you say we start working on some of the blaster stuff? I think that's what's gonna happen next. If I can manage to clean up some of this space again. Because as usual, desk space is not happening. What's new? You are, well, let's do the blue one first. Yeah, because these ones aren't actually even symmetrical either to fit with the whole theme. See, like I mentioned earlier in the stream, these are foam. You know, like the foam mats that you can put on the floor? It's 3 layers of those with some craft foam that all the details in them have been hot knifed into the material, just to kind of make it easier for me to paint, but also to make them look a little bit more realistic. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I do definitely want to do more Star Wars drawings. I'm sure at some point I'll end up doing some Sabine artwork or Hera artwork. I did consider actually putting them in the Women of Star Wars series, but I decided not to because I couldn't really think of a great underpiece. Like, if you know the Star Wars series, it has, that I did, it of course has the main person, but then in their body there's like an important moment. And at that point, like now I might be able to do them, but when I was doing that series, there wasn't really like a super easy defining moment for Sabine or Hera. So that's why I initially ended up just not putting them in. But yeah, I'm sure at some point I will do either a full-blown Rebels artwork or at the very least Sabine and or Hera. And we're back to the don't use a palette, Michaela stage. Oh, thank you guys. Yeah, yeah, and thanks everyone that's joining, or whether you're like popping in and out or whatever, like thanks. I have considered doing more live streams, so if it's something you guys are interested in, obviously I will try and do them more frequently than, well, this is the first YouTube one that I've done. Just because, you know, Periscope and Instagram Live were easier, but of course now, like, I'm using my phone to live stream, so it is definitely, like, on par with the ease of, like, Periscope or Instagram Live. So yeah, hopefully in the future there will be a lot more of these. I just figured doing a live stream for the cosplay was going to be more interesting than attempting to film literally everything of how I was building this craziness. And then of course we get to hang out and chill and talk and stuff. Yeah, thanks for joining. I mean, obviously I'm trying to concentrate on this, but like, yeah, feel free to like talk to each other in the comments, you know, don't be shy. I'll try and look and chime in on different things. But yeah, if you have any questions about what the stuff is made out of or whatever, feel free to ask. Well, this blaster that I'm working on is made out of those foam mats that you like put down. Like, technically it's considered thick EVA foam. But yeah, it is just those like square foam mats that interlocked with each other, glued together, and then detailed up, painted, primed, all that jazz. As far as the rest of the armor, this is a substance called Warbler, which, if you're not into cosplaying, you've probably never heard of, but it is a thermoplastic, so essentially it comes in a big roll that when you heat it up with a heat gun, it turns kind of like, I don't know if any of you are gonna know what Laffy Taffy is, but like fruit leather, like it's not like liquidy, it does keep its shape when you heat it up, but then of course when it hardens, it keeps its shape completely. Like, this stuff is not joking around. Like, you can hear, right? Like, it's not moving. So it's great for armor. Not necessarily so great for props, which is why I decided to do it out of the foam. Although, saying that, the dark saber that I'm working on is actually, I covered some of this foam stuff in Warbler, just because it's a super thin sword hilt kind of thing, so it wasn't going to last well if I kept it foam, because as you can see, like from here, it's still squishy, but that's not going to be a big deal, especially for the props. Yeah, not a big fan of gun things, but of course the costume required it. But luckily these guns are kind of super fake looking. I mean, I know I'm painting black on this now, but this one is mainly blue, and this one is like orange and white and stuff. So as far as like guns in things go, especially for Star Wars wise, these are pretty fake looking guns, I guess you could say. Aw, that's awesome to hear. Thanks for joining the stream. Yeah, like obviously, I'm not, like my YouTube channel is pretty old. Like I didn't really regularly post on it until kind of like the last year and a half. But yeah, there's like some weird things that I do that I realized, especially with the Galaxy, that they were, people were really into Galaxies and people didn't realize that they were super easy to make, so that's originally why I created my Galaxy tutorial. And things have just kind of taken off. Like, I do really like making videos, I guess. Obviously, I like creating stuff. But yeah, this whole YouTube thing's going pretty great. And it's always nice to hear from you guys, from watching videos, if you learn something, or maybe just seeing me paint things, you realize like, oh, it's not the most impossible thing in the world to try. Because I know lots of people never want to post their art online because they feel like it's not good enough or whatever, and I've always said that if you look at how many different artists there are, and how many different art styles, and how many different art styles that are still popular, you can really see that, your art that you might not think is great, someone else might think is like the greatest thing they've ever seen. So yeah, never feel weird about posting your art online. It's always great. I don't really know if that's the right color I need. We have the stock supply of paint here. I'm gonna have to bust into to create this weird blue shade that's going on. And of course I have more paint tubes to open, which I really probably should have done before any of this, because they are apparently really not easy. Thanks. Yeah, it looked kind of strange before I added all of the like burnt out details, but it looks pretty good now. And of course all the burnt out details that I did are also assisting me in painting this sucker. Hallelujah. Okay. Gently turn this. And probably not going to be using that brush. Ooh. This would be this situation assessment of how small do I need to go. Let's go with you. Whoops. Sorry guys. We're getting back to the painting. Promise. Perfect. Okay. Hey guys, thanks for joining. I mean, I'm not sure if any of you have been here for the whole thing or whatnot, but whether you've been here for a long time or you're just joining, like, thanks for coming by and seeing what's happening around here. Thrawn? Yeah, I can add Thrawn to the list of possible things. Like I said, I might end up doing like some giant Star Wars Rebels piece at some point. That would be cool. I mean, maybe when they announce when season 4 is coming out, I'll do something for that week or something. See, I should really probably turn this over and attempt to do the blue on the other side since I have the paint, but what do you bet that's gonna turn into a catastrophe? See, this is what you guys don't see when I'm just filming normally, is me creating possible messes to last lifetimes. Yeah, probably September. Man, I must say, from like looking at my stream on my iPad in front of me, these colors are looking great. I mean, in real life, you can see all the different like brush strokes, and you know, it's pretty obvious that it needs another coat. But thankfully, it looks great on camera. Let's see if this other side, whoops. Some of the things are a bit dry. It's gonna have to stay like that, but while I get this greeny color. Yeah, it's funny, I actually flew through Stranger Things in a single day because I was stuck at this desk building last year's cosplay. But yeah, the Demigorgon would be an incredible cosplay. Not necessarily something I might make, but I'm sure somebody will. Okay, let's see. How am I going to do this? Carefully is the answer to that. It's like these ridges right here and this part have this turquoisey color. Which you'll never believe it, but I'm actually using the palette for once. I never realized until a couple of weeks ago how much I don't breathe when I'm painting certain things, just to keep my hands steadier. I mean, it works. Whoa, see? That's what you miss in my normal videos, is me doing ridiculous things like that. Other side. Well, thankfully that paint wasn't wet. So if I go out of frame, just yell at me in the chat. This should be an interesting maneuver. Gotta get this piece right here, while attempting to not touch the other ones. This better be in frame, maybe? Okay. So many tiny details that you're probably never going to see. But that's what cosplay is about. See if we can do a bit more on this. Nope, not a lot of paint there. As you can see, we're back to not using a palette. From what I can tell, this orange color is quite possibly the least pigmented paint color ever made. Like, the elbow pads took like 6 coats of paint, I think. Yeah, it's Sabine armor. And yes, I do really like Star Wars. I mean, you can't see, but I've got my Phoenix Squadron shirt on that I painted because I had to test out how masking film would work on fabric, which apparently it works great. But yeah, we're making Sabine armor. Woohoo! Hey, I figured it was only fitting that my first Star Wars cosplay be the one artist Star Wars character. Although it was almost Ahsoka. Like older Fulcrum Ahsoka. Which, I mean, at some point I'm sure I will still do because I really want to do it. It's just, you know, the face paint and everything is a bit more work than full-blown armor. But at some point, hopefully Ahsoka will happen. That's awesome, and yeah, so Ahsoka is a great character. And wow, from Hungary, that's awesome. It's always crazy to see where my subscribers are from all around the world. It's super cool. Hey everyone, thanks again, whether you've been here the whole time or you're just joining now, thanks for tuning in. As you can see, we're working on armor here. Ooh. Let's clean up some of this paint stuff so we can flip to something else interesting to work on. Let's move this guy out of the way. And somewhere where it's not going to get paint on something else. I think we are going to try to paint the stripe on this hand guard. That's not the right hand. Where's the tape? There we go. I mean, I'll probably butcher it, but of course you're probably gonna make me say something terrible, aren't you? There's no ruler in this place to measure if that's a straight line. Because it sure doesn't look like it. Okay. You are like 3/4 of an inch and an inch. So something's gotta go in and out. Let's make it be wider. There we go. That looks pretty straight, so I'm not going to bother measuring that. Mix that crazy paint color. My goodness, I cannot talk. Okay, so goodbye is Caesar? Or just Sia? Oh boy, this is going terribly already. Yeah, okay. This is not the paintbrush I'm looking for. So, Eigen or Egan? No is Nem. Hopefully that's fairly self-explanatory. That's not good. Ooh, that's really not good. Tape just... Hold on. Artist overboard. Nope, not getting that. Tape's gone. Well, that's good that it's sounded okay. Oh, thank you. Obviously, the sculpting was one thing, but actually getting it to look the right color is something entirely different. But you know, crazy artist armor is thankfully not super pristine. I of course still have to coat this after so that it's actually metal looking. Hey, thanks for joining the stream. As you can see, right now I'm working on a shin guard. You guys didn't come for a normal stream of just painting normal things, did you? Thank you. For anyone that's just joining, that wasn't around when I was talking about it before, this stuff is like the armor parts. Is actually made out of a substance called Warbler. It's a thermoplastic, so it means that when you heat it up, it turns all wobbly, and then you can mold it, and when it cools off, it hardens into your desired shape. Yeah, if you have followed me on Twitter, you've seen the casting process of creating the templates, and the molding process was similar. You know, get the boots that I'll be wearing on, and then literally mold the stuff over the boots on my legs. Yeah, I'm being wrapped up in so much plastic wrap and painter's tape, it's crazy. But it seems to be working well, template-wise. Everything fits perfectly. Yeah, that's my iPad. Sorry, I guess, yeah, it is very in frame, but I'm looking at what I'm actually painting. On the iPad, of course, because nothing is symmetrical. And of course, I'm seeing your chat right here. Only because my phone is like up here and I can't see the screen if I tried. I don't want to miss anything. Plus it's also making sure that I am in frame, which is not necessarily been going so great so far. Oh yeah, but for armor, it's actually season 3. I don't think it changes too much between season 2 and season 3. The main things are kind of going to be what I'm not working on, and that's the VAM braces, which are the armband things. Because I wanted to make a dark saber, I had to make the new ones that she gets, which are of course way more complicated than her usual ones. But it's all good, they're all molded and stuff, and they're just not ready to be painted yet. They still gotta go through the many layers of priming. Yeah. But for the dark saber, I've just done a hilt. There is the loose template, maybe I used it. Yeah, dedication. I mean, I wanted to possibly make the jetpack too, just because it would be a super easy conversion into a backpack if I needed the storage, but I think I'm good with pockets. But who knows, there might also be a jetpack. Yeah, thanks. Let's see you two side by side. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I was considering for the armbands making one that would fit my phone because, I mean, they're really cool and also pretty practical, especially if you, like, put the hole for the screen of a phone. I mean, you wouldn't need pockets then. I'm gonna have to add purple paint to some of these after to just tone down the splotching. Well, thanks for joining, and good night. And wow, Poland. That's awesome. Yeah, I never know when to do these streams. I mean, today's was kind of just a good time, but for other streams I'd be like a lot more flexible. So I never, you know, is there a good time for you guys? Like, are you more likely to be able to join a live stream like on a weekend or in the morning or at night? I know that you are all from kind of all over the place. But obviously I want to do it at like an okay time for a lot of you. And this stream especially will be living on my channel, so if you've just hopped on and you want to see what we were working on before, or you want to rewatch it or anything, it will be on my channel after it's finished too. Sorry, just cleaning brushes, I know, super boring but necessary over here. These guys back out of the way. What shall we work on next? I'm gonna do the rest of the black on this blaster, just so that it's done and I don't think it's completely finished. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to make dinner for myself at some point, but who needs to cook themselves dinner when you have armor to paint either, right? Yep, both blasters are made. The other one is right here. And of course they, just like every other piece of her armor, do not match. So, gotta pay attention to those color schemes. Hey, pictures are great too. They're definitely, well, I'll say the easiest to make, but I've definitely made harder things. They're just craft foam. And yeah, I mean, I'm glad it looks really cool on camera. I mean, it is probably all of the details that I, where's the black paint? Burnt into the gun already, just to kind of make my painting life easier. weaponry, well, automatically I'd say I prefer swords to guns, but of course this costume called for guns. I do like my master sword that I've made, which I've had to make multiple ones because my first one bit the dust last year. So I remade it and improved it, so that was okay. But yeah, master sword for now is my favorite weapon that I've made. Although, if I ever actually make the dark saber to go with this costume, that might beat it. Because, I mean, who doesn't love a light-up sword? For FanExpo, there's definitely regulations as to the weapons that you're allowed to carry, but the master sword that I've made is actually out of paper that's fiberglassed. I just found that it's like one of the most accurate ways to make the master sword, because if you know anything about paper crafting, it's based on the 3D data from the actual game. So of course it is the very legit, straight from the game way to make costuming. It is actually right behind me. I can go pull it out. Here, let me finish this and I'll grab the sword. I mean, life-size Link is behind me too, but he's not gonna fit in frame. I'll go grab the master sword. Yeah. So, this is what I have used for my latest one, which is Warrior Wolf Link, as well as my Zora armor. The, the sheath is also paper. It is one of the most annoying paper crafts I've ever made because it has the super fine lip on it here. But yeah, that's the sword. It is paper that's being fiberglassed. It has foam in the blade. But yeah. Oh, and then I decided this time to add the ribbon around the handle. So yeah. Back to painting, I guess. I think I'm gonna start doing, well, maybe I shouldn't start that. Black on me. Let's see how, I guess we're going to stand you up to dry. Wow, it's already 20 to 6. Ooh. Let's see, what else could I do some work on? Maybe I should just call it there. You know what, that's what I think I'm gonna do. I'm gonna leave it there for this stream. Hold on, let me grab the phone. Hey, yep, woo, me, see, Phoenix t-shirt, woo, keeping it with all of the things. Well, thank you so much to all of you that joined. If anyone stayed the whole time, or if you just joined for a few minutes, thank you. If you're interested in seeing more of this cosplay stuff, I've been keeping things up to date on my social media. I've been doing a lot of Instagram stories and stuff, so if you want to see more of that, you can follow me there. But yeah, thank you so much for joining in, and from me and Link, goodbye.